What's up, fellas? Alright, before I get started, I needed light out here because our light went out on the porch, and this is what I did. Full brightness, that's what I got.
Good night, fam.
As you can see from my phone, it's 1 a.m. I'm gonna try to do this all in one take. I think I'm gonna call it Late Night Thoughts from the Balcony. A lot of times we wish for what could be instead of focusing on what is, and I think that's a bad thing. And I think that causes us to, or at least me, to honestly lose hope instead of focusing on the present moment. Because, like, obviously no one's where they want to be in life. I mean, some people are, I'm sure. I consistently feel unfulfilled and unhappy. Well, when I say consistently, I mean not every day. So maybe not consistently. But at the same time, there's always that lingering feeling that I'm either not doing enough, or when it's bad, I start blaming other people, like the people around me. And I get irritable. And I don't want to be like that, you know? You know, everyone's different, but I'm sure there are plenty of people going through the same thing. I could tire myself out every day and still not get anything done, but at least be able to sleep, right? But I have goals, and I have stuff that I want to do. Like, one, I do like making YouTube videos, and it's not something that I plan to make a career out of. I mean, obviously if it happened, that'd be sick, but it's just something that I like to do. And I want to, like, just have a whole catalog of my entire life on my YouTube, you know what I mean? And that's why I really do try to, when I'm editing the video and I'm like, damn, that's embarrassing, or something like that, or like, I was being weird, or, you know, I want to keep it in, because that's just my life, and I'm growing as an individual. I usually don't, though. And usually it's like small stuff. It's like, I said something the wrong way, and as I'm editing the video and rewatching it, I think it's corny or weird, so I delete it. But that is not based. That's being insecure and self-conscious, and that's not good. That's not what I want to do. Last night, I was laying awake in bed. It was like 3 a.m. So I was laying in bed for like 3 hours at least, and I just couldn't fall asleep. And I kept wanting to get up and make this video. And I had a lot of ideas right there in that moment, but my girlfriend was trying to sleep, and, you know, it's hard to sleep alone, so I ended up just finally falling asleep. But I keep asking myself the question, like, what am I doing with my life? You know what I mean? And maybe it's not good. Maybe I shouldn't worry about it at all. But like I said, I pretty consistently feel unfulfilled, and I want to do more. A couple years ago, I was really, I guess you could say, knowledgeable about things going on in the world and spiritual things, matters, and I wanted to, like, spread word around and start a movement. Nothing crazy, not like kind of not like a violent revolution, but more just like, if we all did these few things, life could be so much better. And I was talking with someone who's also very spiritual last night, and he was saying, like, it would be great if we could all unite against a common enemy. Unfortunately, that's pretty much impossible. So, the common enemy is the devil, Satan, whatever you want to call. That would be the common enemy. And what my friend was saying is that, so you have a higher self and a lower self. And it's high vibration and low vibration. Which most people that are into improving themselves know something about that. Your highest self will always, you know, make the right decision and try to do the right thing. And the lowest self is more animalistic and it's low vibration. It's like making decisions that keep you in a low vibrational state. And low vibration is not good. You know, it kind of sounds like hippie shit, which I understand if someone would think that. But if we all tapped into our higher self, then none of us would have this problem. A good way to look at it from a Christian point of view is the higher self is the Holy Spirit, and the lower self is the devil. Almost like the angel and the devil on your shoulders. You know what I mean? Same thing. 1 second, guys. Sorry about that. The cat that likes to jump off the balcony is on the balcony, so I had to get her off. But as I was saying, the common enemy would be the lowest self. And if we would all try to be on a high vibration in the highest self, there would be no problems in the world. I truly believe that. But the problem is that's easy to say. It's not easy to do. I wake up every day with good intentions. I really don't have any hate in my heart or malice. Well, if I'm being real, and this is really a late night talk, I do have some hate in my heart, but I think it's towards myself. And that's a hard pill to swallow, you know, because you really can't love anyone until you love yourself. When I think about where I am in life, in the current moment, it really just makes me think, because there was a time where I felt like, you know, I loved myself and I was at peace. But was I really? So during that time, I was very alone, which is I was okay with, but I spent a lot of time outside and in nature and just meditating, being with myself, just only in my mind. And I did feel like I loved myself and I was at peace. But at the same time, you know, now I have people depending on me and people that want to hang out and stuff, and there's nothing wrong with that. I'm very grateful for that. At the same time, though, that is what's changed in my life. Now I have people depending on me and counting on me and just wanting to be there for me and wanting me to be there for them, and just community. And sometimes I still do feel happy, but a lot of times I don't. And you know, you're not my therapist or anything, and yeah, whatever. But as I was saying about the high vibrational thing, is I really feel that if we were all on our highest self and our highest brain wavelengths, you know, whatever you want to call it, there would be no problems in the world. There would be no war. There would be peace. Everything would be great. But like I said, it's easier said than done, because even I have the knowledge, I can't do that. I still fuck up. I still mess up. I don't know what it's gonna take for me to get it together, you know what I mean? Because like I said, I love doing the YouTube, but there are still stretches where I don't do it, and I should be doing this every day. Sometimes there's just no footage to be made, you know what I mean? But at any given time, I have like at least one video, but usually 2 or 3 that just haven't been edited yet, and I'm kind of like behind schedule all the time. I still get them done. Like just today, as I'm filming this video, 2 hours ago I posted the 4th of July video, and that's July 26th. So that's 22 days past 4th of July, and it should have came out on July 5th or 6th. You know what I mean? I should have made that video or filmed it and then edited. I get distracted, and I'm a procrastinator, and I don't know why. Like, I know what I need to do and I don't do it. You know what I mean? And like the gym, yeah, I love going to the gym. It's great, but I don't go as often as I should. You know, it should be locked in. There is another video that I haven't edited yet. I actually just started on it after the 4th of July video, and it's when I got fired from my job. I worked there for about 2 years. I knew the most. I was very knowledgeable. It was low voltage electric work. Basically one day they just said they didn't need me anymore. You know, if I was a younger man, which I'm 19, but if I was younger mentally, I probably would have cried. This shit hurt. But I did take it like a champ, and I even told the boss, said thanks for the opportunity, walked out of the office, said goodbye to all the older guys that I know, and you know, we like each other, and walked out, you know, left. And to be honest, I was pretty burnt out with the job. I was very grateful to have it, and you know, I was never gonna quit or anything like that. I did need some kind of push to go in the right direction. But you know, you can get a push. Sorry, 1 second. You know, sometimes you ask for a push to do something. Like, for example, I have an aspiration to become a fishing guide, which is a part of my family's business, and so I would be taking up the reins, you know, being a part of the family business, and I feel like that is important, and that's something I want to do. So I was asking for a push, which that push would be to get fired. But now that it's happened, I need money, you know what I mean? And so, you know, Monday I have an interview for another electrician job, low voltage, and I hope I get it because I need money. But there are a lot of things in this world that I think have been made this way to keep us in low vibrational states. Because when I get a paycheck, when I get money, the first thing I want to do is spend it. And to be fair, if you're living in a world that, you know, as currency and all these different things that are cool and you want to buy. I mean, it's not like I'm helpless. Like, I could make the right decision, but most times I choose not to. And I believe that's low vibrational. At the same time though, if I just save all my money and do nothing, then that's also not good. You know what I mean? There are ways to have fun without spending money, it's true. But you can only go to the park so many times before your girlfriend is like, we go to the park all the time, let's do something else. You know what I mean? And you know, maybe it's just hanging out with the wrong people, because I'm sure there's plenty of people that, you know, there are plenty of people who the gym is fun, and making videos like this is fun, and I should probably surround myself with those people more. But I don't know, you know, I have connections to people that I'm either too good of a person or too weak of a person to break. In reality, the people I have connections with, I don't have much in common with, which is okay. Opposites attract, you know, in relationships and friendships, so it makes sense. But it would be nice to, like, I do have like one friend, but he's always busy, you know what I mean? He's got a kid and all that, but like, that just on the same wavelength all the time. Not all the time, but you know what I mean? Just like trying to do the same stuff. And but what I mean by that is by going to the gym, improving yourself. Like, I need to have a good group like that, or go back to doing my own thing. So it kind of feels like I'm trapped a little bit. Not really sure. A lot of times I see the world and my world as it could be, not as it is. And you know, when you're thinking about it, like at first, what it could be, it gives you hope and it kind of makes you feel good. But then days go by and you realize, like, but that's not how it is. And then me personally, I feel really sad after that. I feel like kind of hopeless, you know. But every day's a new day. Sometimes you just need a fresh start. Like this morning, I woke up at like 10 o'clock in the morning, you know. And I mean, I was tired, but I could have stayed up. But I went back to bed. And then I woke up at like 12. And I don't like to do that. I like to wake up early. Like when I'm in my highest self, I wake up early and I do things. But when I'm more on my lowest self, I tend to sleep in and, you know, just feel weird and lazy and not want to do anything. You know what I mean? Sometimes it's real hard to get out of a funk. But I think I can do it. And I just, like anyone that's listening to this, if you are in a funk, there's you can get through this, you know. And I kind of want to prove that. That's why I really hope that once I watch this back, there's some useful information, something useful that I can keep and make a video out of, so you can see kind of where I'm at. And then hopefully a couple weeks down the line, or maybe a couple months, or however long it takes, you'll see that I did improve, and it'll give people hope. It'll show that, hey, I'm not much different than this guy. I'm sad right now. I'm in a bad spot, and I can do this. That's one of the things. My friend that was over last night, and we were getting real deep into spiritual talk and all kinds of stuff. He was also saying, like, the one thing he had a real tough childhood. Like, I'm not gonna divulge his personal information, but whatever you're thinking is probably worse than that. He had a real rough childhood, and he literally said, like, a whole bunch of stuff. He said he's glad all that stuff happened to him because it made him into the man he is today. And that makes so much sense. And there's so many times in my life that bad things have happened to me that have made me into the man I am today. Now, it is true, you can have bad things happen to you and become a bad person. But if you're strong, you know, if you just have that in you, if you have it in you, you can become better. We should all be striving to be better. I think that would really help. And that's something that I need to work on too. You know, I used to journal every day. I used to be real into it, and now not so much anymore. And you know, maybe I'll never get that into it again, but I could stand to do a little bit, you know, and to really self-reflect and try to be better, actively try to be better, I think is the goal. And there's a video that I watched not that long ago, and it was, I don't want to butcher it, I don't know it exactly, but it was saying something about how to unlock the potential of your mind, how to become, you know, superhuman, whatever. Even though, I mean, you can't really have, you know, it's not superpowers, but how to be one with your higher self, let's say that, right? And what he said was, it's a real old video too, like probably like 1950s or whatever. It was like a scientist, and he was just like, solitude is how you enter the flow state, or basically if you ever have a problem that you need answered or whatever. That AC keeps kicking on. But if you ever have a problem that you need answered, or like you're stuck in a rut or something like that, if you go into solitude, especially in nature, for like 30 to 60 minutes, you know, no distractions, no phone, no nothing, and just breathe and sit with yourself and truly think. Not many people do that. And what's crazy is that video was so old, but even he was like, not many people do that. And that was before phones, and that was before, not many people sit with themselves. That's not something that's an advanced thing, that a mental thing, because most people don't like to sit in silence and really think. And it doesn't mean do nothing. It's actually quite the opposite. I mean, you kind of are doing nothing, but it's more like when you sit with yourself alone in meditation or solitude or whatever you want to call it, prayer even, you can really unlock the mysteries of life. Like one thing, especially when I'm in the sauna at the gym, I like to sit in there for about 30 minutes. And I have a flip phone. I'm not finna scroll on Instagram. I can't, you know, but I'm not on my phone. Sometimes I will talk to other people, and it's good to be social too, but the sauna most of the time is somewhere that I just like to, I sit up in the corner, I close my eyes and I breathe. I really work on my breath, you know. And a lot of times I think about things, and it really helps, you know. But even the sauna isn't enough. I should be doing that more often, you know what I mean? Really, every morning after I shower or something, or just some time throughout the day, just come out to the balcony and just sit and breathe. Eventually, once your mind truly quiets down, you can start asking yourself the real questions, like, how can I be better? You know what I mean? And you'll get real answers. Instead of, like, a lot of times, you know, like after a real long day, I'll be strung out or whatever and trying to go to bed, and yeah, it was a bad day or whatever, right? And I try to think about like what I should do and all that, and really nothing comes from it because I'm so distracted, so mentally drained. So the solitude is really what comes in it. It's hard when you have people that love you, because your significant other does not want you to be alone, or to be, you know, they want to spend time with you, which is perfectly acceptable, but even encouraged, you know. But I think if they truly love you, then they will, if you ask for that little bit of space, because then you explain why. I think that would be acceptable, would it not? You know, I think a goal for me is to truly start sitting with myself again in solitude, because also, I mean, I kind of have ADHD brain where I just go like this, you know, just back and forth, and I can get a lot of stuff done that way, but at the same time I get burnt out too. Also, I'm of the belief that whether you have ADHD, you know, ADD, OCD, whatever, you know, disorder, like brain chemistry is weird or whatever, no matter what, I think solitude is good for you. It may be harder for you, especially if you're like ADD, ADHD, but I don't think that label should matter anyways. I think when you label yourself that, you're kind of trapping yourself in a box. And I'm not hating at all. I understand. It's just, I think that if we all stopped worrying about giving everything labels, instead we could, because ADHD has strengths too, you know. It's not a weakness. It's, maybe your brain is wired differently, but why don't you use that to your advantage? You know what I mean? And a lot of people do, but there are a lot of people who take a victim mindset, and I understand. It's just, I'm really talking to myself here, but I think that we should all, 1, try to be better, 2, practice meditation and solitude, and 3, just don't be a victim. When you're in that victim mindset, you really can't be helped. People will try to help you and you will deny it, and you can't help yourself because you're in a victim mindset. So this is late night thoughts from a balcony. We're out here, we're philosophizing a little bit, you know. Another goal is to not be up this late anymore for me, so hopefully tomorrow wake up 9 or 10 and actually get some shit done. Interview Monday, gotta prepare for that. Yeah, it's a good day to be good, you know. It's a bad day to be bad. I just came up with that, but for real, like, Oh, but what I was saying, I'll probably have to cut this all up, but my friend, he was saying the one thing he wished for, just the one thing he's ever wished for in life, is to help the guy next to him, help the person next to him. Doesn't matter what happens to him. And, usually that sounds kind of corny or whatever. I mean, it sounds great, but there's no way that it would actually be a real person. But if you knew him, you would know that it's really true. He's not like Jesus, but he has done well with Jesus' teachings, and he's not even super Christian. He's more New Age spiritual, and but he also respects it. It's just a weird thing, he's just not like diehard Christian. And one thing I will say is, I lean towards the Bible and Christ, and that's what I believe in. But I also believe that a lot of people that do the same as me and believe in that are very divisive and very, my way is right, your way is wrong, and some are even like, you're gonna burn in hell and stuff like that. I don't think that's the way. That's not what Jesus taught. So I think it's important to be open-minded and to bounce ideas off other people. And also, if you're truly about it, then you'll know that that's how you plant seeds. That's how you plant a seed of, wow, this guy was talking about Jesus and God and blah, blah, blah. I've never really believed in that, but he's so nice and respectful, and plant a seed just like that, you know what I mean? But whenever you say, like, go to hell, this, that, you're planting a weed, you know what I mean? You're planting, like, something that's gonna destroy. I would really like, if there's anybody watching this and that you have a question or you just want to talk, I'd really appreciate it if you reached out to me. I don't have many subscribers or many views, but I would love to have, if you're watching my videos, I would just love to talk to you, The channel is mostly for me. It's my life and I just want to document it, but if there's anybody that relates, or you get what I'm trying to say. I also want to help people, like my friend. And the way he said what he said about how all he's ever wanted is to just help his fellow man really touched me, and it kind of gave me a wake-up call and brought me back to who I used to be, or who I thought I used to be. I don't know, but regardless, I want to help people too. I can't do that if I'm not helping myself. It's almost like your parents, they'll be like, how can I trust you with this when I can't even trust you to brush your teeth, or something small like that. Brushing your teeth is an act of taking care of yourself. It's something that you gotta do, I mean, you don't have to, but you really should, and it makes you feel good, you feel clean, and when you don't do it, you feel dirty. And how can I trust you with something important if you can't even brush your teeth? I mean, it's kind of like that. Like, think of brushing your teeth as self-care, and the solitude, thinking, how can I be better, and taking action, right? And how can you be trusted to help other people if you aren't taking those steps to help yourself? Because I haven't been helping other people really, like random people, and I used to a lot, and it kind of hurts that I'm not making a difference. I can't make a difference until I make a difference in my life. It's been a long time since I've sat down and just talked for a video. I'm not gonna lie, I really miss it. I used to journal. I used to write in my journal a lot, like every day, like almost obsessively, almost to a point where it wasn't healthy, and it never really helped even, like kinda, not really though. What's always helped me is talking to the camera, which maybe it's just because of my age and my generation or whatever, but I feel like I'm more, and maybe I'm just shitting on journaling because my attention span's fried, and it's a lot easier because the ADHD thing. But like I said, use your strengths, right? So if journaling doesn't really work, then I should do this. And also maybe someone will get something out of this. And I do know that there was a lot of people, because I started this in high school, and I also had a lot of crazy ideas. So before I say this, I'm not butthurt or anything, but there were a lot of people that kind of watched just to make fun of me, and which is all good. Water under the bridge, but I bet there were some people too that were actually like hearing some of the good things I had to say as well. And maybe I even changed someone's life, and you never really know, but I think what matters is the effort you put in, you know what I mean? Because maybe someone hears this talk and I brought up something that they've been wondering about and they've been struggling with, and maybe what I said could help. Maybe not. Maybe I'm just babbling. But that's the goal, right? And I feel really good right now, which is crazy because 30 minutes ago when I started filming, I did not feel very good. I felt alright. I was editing a video and all that, but I really needed to talk. It's possible that what I'm about to say might turn some heads, but I think it's important to say. And it's that me personally, whenever I'm in a dark place or whatever, it's because of the choices that I made in the past few days or the past few weeks, or maybe even the past few months. But it's the low vibration, high vibration thing. If you make decisions, like it's just climbing a ladder, you know, or really climbing stairs, you know, you make steps up, and if you keep stepping up, you'll notice that day by day your life is getting better. But a lot of times we step backwards. Me especially. You know, you have a few days there where you keep stepping backwards and you keep doing stuff you shouldn't, and you end up feeling all depressed, like why is my life like this, blah blah blah. But really, I know why my life is the way it is, and it's because of the decisions I've made. And unfortunately, when you're stuck in a rut, it takes time to get out of. It can't just be fixed in a day. So I think it's important to realize the way it works, and just realize I'm in a rut right now, and I gotta just I gotta keep walking forward, up. I gotta keep going up instead of down. So I was already planning on hitting the gym tomorrow, but I think I definitely am hitting the gym tomorrow. After that, I might take time to go fishing and get you guys on it, because I have a fishing video that hasn't been posted yet with the head strap, and I just didn't get enough footage to make a real good video, and so that's probably what I'm gonna end up doing. And do this more often, because it's really nice to, you know, go out somewhere like the state fair, or when it snowed, or going swimming, stuff like that, and film it and show a good time. And people like that. I haven't been getting many views. But this is also important, and this is honestly much more important. And you know, it's a fine balance between living life and pondering. Because if all you're doing is living, and what I mean by that is just going out different places and doing all kinds of fun stuff, it's fun and it's great, but eventually it loses meaning. Life is all about balance, I feel. I just have to remind myself to stay in balance and keep doing the right thing. Sometimes it's hard, you know, with outside influences, and I think that's why I did so well when I was alone, because I had no outside influences, and I really just tapped into my higher self. But if I was truly strong, if I was truly the person I'm meant to be, then outside influences would not matter. I could still have some fun, but at the end of the day, I know who I am and I know what I'm doing. And you know, maybe I'm being a little too hard on myself, because I just did think of a couple times recently where I have at least tried to help some people. Like, you know, there was a homeless guy in Dallas, and he was asking to wash my car, and I was like, bro, I don't have any money. I really appreciate it. God bless you. I'm glad you're alive. I literally said, I'm glad you're alive. God bless you. And you know, maybe to some that would be like, what the fuck you saying? But you know, especially the guy trying to wash your cars probably had a long life of drugs, and that ultimately is his fault. And he probably didn't even hear me, but at least I tried, you know. And there was also other people that came up to me last time I went to Dallas. I was at a concert, or more like a show at a bar, and came up to me, talked to me, and you know, I gave him the time of day, and I just said, how you doing, brother? What's going on, you know? And I think if you have genuine good intentions, you know, obviously bad things happen to good people, and good things happen to bad people, and that's just life. But I think if you truly have good intentions, whatever is meant to happen to you will happen. And you know, I hate to say that, because sometimes you try to do the right thing and you die straight up, your life is over. But maybe it's hard to answer the mysteries of life, and I really don't want to get into it, but I like to think that death is easy. Not for everyone else that lives, but I hate to quote 50 Cent right now, but 50 Cent says, death gotta be easy, because life is hard. There's a lot of quotes about the sweet release of death and all that. And obviously, I'm sure you ask someone, they'd prefer to be alive, not dead, but I don't know. That's just tragedy. Everything is about balance. Like, you know, you should trust that there is a plan for you. I don't know if you've ever heard of Taoism. I read a book about it about a year ago. The way of Tao is actually I wouldn't call it a religion, although some people do practice it as a religion. I'd call it more of a school of thought. Tao is the act of doing nothing. I don't want to misquote the book, but in general, most of the pieces fall into place. And the way I can relate to that is there have been many times in my life where I try to take the reins and, make something happen, and it usually blows up in my face. Where instead, if I was just patient and listened, like listen to that inner voice, be quiet and be in solitude, usually the pieces fall into place. Even in a relationship, like say, you break up or whatever, a lot of times, especially like early on in life, you'll freak out and end up making things worse than they are. But instead, if you just take the lesson for what it is, a lesson, and just breathe, a lot of times things get a lot better. Whether it be friendships or whatever. There have been many times where I've been mad at my friends and had falling outs. Not many times, but a few times. And there is certain times where I think you should stand up for yourself. At the same time, sometimes the best action is non-action. And that's what the Tao teaches. And it's a book called The Way of the Tao, I believe. There's also a guy on Facebook and Instagram. On Instagram, his name is Taylor Durden, the guy from Fight Club. But on Facebook, his name is Tao Lore. And he's very into it. Very spiritual guy. And I do enjoy his work. So, and I don't agree with him on everything. Sometimes people get distracted. Like right now, I'm getting distracted. With the Tao, that was a book that I read, and I really enjoyed it. And just recently, I read Lil B's book, which is called Taken Over by Imposing the Positive. And it just means it's all about love, loving yourself, loving others, and doing the right thing. And everything works out, usually. That's what we call being based. When you're based, you're with the highest vibration of yourself. And it's also about trying new things and reading books. Some books are a waste of time, but sitting down and reading that book that sucks is still not a waste of time. You know what I mean? Like you say, it's a waste of time. You didn't learn anything from it, but it's better than not reading at all. I need to read more. Just need to do more, And so that's the goal. Every day, just try to do more. I think that's where I'm going to leave it at, because this screen is getting on my nerves. I need to replace the light bulb, and then we can have some real talks. But until then, I guess just... I keep hearing things. Just do your best, That's what I'm going to do. Hopefully, we'll see some improvements soon, Maybe I am in a little rut right now, but if every day I take a step up the stairs, next thing you know, I'm going to be high rolling, or not high rolling, you know what I mean? Just, it's going to get better. That's the goal. But yeah, I'll try to record pretty much the whole day tomorrow, to see what I'm actually up to. But yeah, been talking for an hour now. It's time for bed. Love you, boys.